how do we actually do whatever we want to do without worrying about what other people would think? I think that's one important aspect or one thought that comes across our mind when we're exploring different kind of business ideas, and also when we're in the process of doing something that is not traditional, like your traditional career paths, like being an engineer, a doctor, and whatever that's out there. You might feel like, oh, what would other people think about me? What will my family and friends think about me? And you often see friends who have a 9 to 5, they're in the traditional career paths. Would if they have been there for a few years, they're probably earning more than you are if you are not planning to do a traditional job long term, and you are not interested in climbing the corporate ladder. So you might feel like you're left out, and you might also feel like, what am I doing with my life? And I think it's important not to conform to those ideas and to those traditional norms, because I feel a lot of the older generation still struggles to see the new jobs that is created in the online space as actual jobs. Even though right now I think there's more acknowledgement that, hey, being a YouTuber is a thing. People earn money, and making content on TikTok or even Instagram, you can actually make a business on these platforms, and it's not something that's not doable. So I feel like it's where people are more used to other people doing non-traditional jobs, but there's still that fear of, what will other people think if I try out this unconventional career path? And I know that it's very tempting to conform into that societal expectation, the societal norm on what a career should look like, especially when you're trying to do that non-traditional career path. Because the truth is, when you try to build a business, and especially in a very non-traditional way, you would almost feel like, am I being delusional? I know other people succeed in these realms, but will it be possible for me? Because everybody says that it's all a fluff. All my friends and family thinks it's a fluff. So they all think that a traditional job should be something that's stable, that pays a monthly, and all of that jazz. So I know that it's very easy to want to conform to that, but if I feel like true success comes when you do things that you're passionate about, and also you do not conform to a certain structure, you don't have to answer to anyone. Um, I mean, like when you have a business, you do have some sort of clients that you need to so-called answer to. Like it's more like a collaboration than like, a hierarchy system when you're in a business. It's like you have that freedom to plan out your day in a certain way and do the things you love with freedom. You have freedom of time, you have freedom of even place if you're working remotely. So there's a lot of things that comes with doing business in the non-traditional ways that is not your traditional career paths. I think just the other day I was in a family event, and one of the aunties there were like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I told her that I'm an Instagram manager. I work with small women-owned business. I also do Instagram coaching. I'm a photographer. And she gave me this very confused look. What are you talking about? And then she was like, but what did you study? And I was like, oh, I did offshore engineering. And then there was this very affirmative nod, like, yeah, okay, that's good. Engineering. And I almost had like an internal laugh, because I'm like, how can you just dismiss the whole idea of what I'm doing right now and talk about something that I'm used to do? I mean, I get it. I feel like in our parents' generation, we still look at those traditional career paths as the only way to make money. And a lot of them haven't really realized the potential of actually what's happening in the online space, and how there's this whole creators economy that's booming. And that's completely fine. I understand it. But what I'm trying to say here is that I do not need anyone's validation to what I'm doing. I will do whatever I want to do, whatever that makes me happy, and whatever that I'm passionate about. So I don't need someone to be nodding with me and being like, yes, I get you. I know what exactly you're doing. Oftentimes, maybe even your friends and families would have no idea what you're doing and your business ideas, and that's okay. Or you don't have. I think it's oftentimes we seek for that external validation, and I think it's important to not seek for that. It's more important to do that inner work and have that trust that whatever you're doing and whatever you're trying out is worth it because your values align with it. Your passion is there and you enjoy it. And I think that's one of the most important thing that you can do for yourself. So I think it's a reminder that if you are in a similar situation like me, or have had that weird conversation with people who raise an eyebrow to you building a business and you doing whatever you want to. So just be certain that your journey is very unique to yourself and it doesn't have to look the same as someone else. So it's completely fine if the other person enjoys their work in a traditional career. Everyone's path is different. You just have to be confident that this is the path for you and you're okay if someone else doesn't understand your journey. So as long as you're true to yourself and your goals, you're on the right path. How do we do things without worrying about what other people think and other people's opinion? I think the first step is to figure out what you do not want, what you do not like, and you wouldn't want to do it. I think look at your past experiences and see what are the things that you didn't like, you didn't fancy, your values didn't align with that type of work, and eliminate that. And when you do that, it'll be easier to narrow down to the things that you would want in your life, in your business, and you would like to do that thing. So, first, identify what you do not want to do and you wouldn't fancy doing it in the long run. Sometimes it's very hard to figure out what you want to do with your life, and there is endless messages that you're being bombarded with from society, family, friends, colleagues. Their opinions, thoughts almost cloud their mind. So it's important to take a step back and be like, no, I don't enjoy it. I don't like that. I don't want that in my life. So reflect back in your past experience, maybe the job that you were in. What aspect of it didn't make you feel happy? Was it a lack of creative control or the way maybe your bosses were demoralizing the culture? Was it like toxic? What were the things that maybe you liked the job? Maybe you were admin and you liked organizing things for the company, but you did not like how your colleagues were. You couldn't choose your colleagues, right, when you're in the company. So maybe that's something that's important to you to have good people around. I mean, we all need healthy people around either ways, but those are the things that you might want to figure out and reflect upon. For example, in the marine industry, it wasn't the most healthy environment. I didn't like the monotonous workflow. It did not tickle my creative energy. But what I did like was working with people. I love the communication part, having that collaborative efforts from all the different departments to make something happen. I really like that. But I didn't like and didn't enjoy engineering or all of that sort. But there's another aspect I liked, there's another aspect that I did not enjoy. So I think I didn't enjoy that it did not creatively challenge me. And I know that I need that in my life because I'm just a naturally creative person. So reflect upon the jobs you guys have done so far, you've tried so far, and you write a list of things that you didn't enjoy and you do not want that in your life anymore. And at least that these were really good. I really enjoyed this aspect of my work and I do want to have that in my future collaborative projects or future passion projects. I think trusting your instincts when making decisions is very important, especially when you want to do whatever you want to do. And it can mean that being true to yourself by listening to that inner gut feeling. And so when we talk about instincts, sometimes it can be delusional. You feel like this is gonna be a good thing and you do not know why and it doesn't make sense, but you just know this is gonna be a good thing. Or you're in a situation where it might not be a great thing, you have a very bad feeling about it, even if it looks great on paper. So let's say, for example, you applied for a job and you met the hiring manager and you didn't have a good vibe. You had a feeling that maybe the work culture wouldn't align with you and your value. And even though that position would look perfect on paper, you know that you won't be happy with it. You just have a very bad feeling about it. Trust that instinct, trust your inner voice, because most often you will be right. Because you can feel like most of the times we're all energies, right? We can feel the vibe of a situation and you just listen to that even if it doesn't make sense for someone else. The same goes for business. If you are trying to build a business, people might be the naysayers might be like, it's too risky, go and have a job, don't do business, it's too risky. And you do it anyway. Obviously, with calculated risk, have that saving, have whatever you need to sustain yourself for that few months that you're exploring your options. But do it anyway because it'll be fulfilling for you in the long run. And I often feel like doing business is almost like being delusional at first because while you're building your business, you won't see results. So to other people, they think you have gone mad or nuts. And until you see results and they're like, oh my God, you're a genius. So till you get results, you'll be considered as someone who's delusional and you have no idea what you're doing. And that is okay. You don't need to convince anyone else that you have all figured out and whatever you're doing is the choice for you. Basically, just do it because and follow your instincts. Say no to places where you don't want to be involved in, and say yes to places where you know that there is an opportunity to grow. And always listening to the inner voice because often times more than not, you are right. For example, when I got retrenched from my corporate job in the marine industry, and then I took up a part-time job that paid me $600 per month. And then I was exploring business and all of that random things before I landed up in photography and Instagram management roles and all of that stuff. My mother was like, what are you doing with your life? You just get another job in the business in the marine world and like all this is not going to work out for you. So I didn't listen to her because I know that in the long run I'll be more fulfilled in this area of my life where I am exploring my creativity to the utmost. And I know that if I work hard enough and I follow through all the processes, inshallah I will succeed. And the things you have to do the work. Nothing's gonna be handed to you in a silver platter. It's a process, like you need to do the work. Also, when you think about how to do whatever you want to do without what other people worries, it's not about like just going into it recklessly and just doing whatever you want. Obviously, you need to really think about what you want to do, what your goals are, how you're going to get there, make a plan, and be very intentional about it. So, really think about what you want to achieve out of this whole decision you have made. And when you're intentional about what you want to do, and how you're going to get there. You'll be more present spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and that will allow you to be more motivated in the long run to stay in the game and to see fruits of your labor. And you will also be more strategic in your decision making, and you will also think about how each choices you're going to make is going to impact your overall goals. So, for example, let's say you're going to start a business, and when you do start a business, you need to write down your business plan, how you're going to get there, test your products, do your market research, and also be very present about your daily tasks. What are the things that you need to do every day to meet those goals? Do you need to do more networking, do product validation, and all of that sort? So that is the importance about being intentional about what you want to do and the goals that you're going to set and thinking about how it's going to impact the audience that you're going to serve as well. So when I say you're, being intentional, it also means that you're taking ownership of your path. It also ensures that you're making choices that aligns with the vision that you have for your life. And I think another thing that might stop you from pursuing whatever you want to do is limiting beliefs. We have limiting beliefs that we hold against ourselves or the world holds it against us or you have hurt other people or it might be also rooted in your childhood growing up brought up in a certain way. Your parents might have told you certain things and you believed them and that has become your limiting belief. And it's important to actually go through your limiting belief, write it down and challenge them and be like, oh, you think I'm not good enough? I'm going to show you that I am good enough as long as I try my best, as long as I give my level best to this thing. So yeah, limiting beliefs can be I'm not good enough, I'm not creative enough, and there's so many more that we have that's inbuilt in us. And it kind of pops up when we try to do something that challenges the social norm, challenges society at large. So write down your limiting beliefs and challenge each one of them. Your limiting beliefs can also be about money or the idea that you don't deserve to be successful. So, and oftentimes these beliefs are so ingrained in us that we don't even realize that they're there until we start a business and then we tell ourselves all of those things. So, take a step back and look at these limiting beliefs and ask them or ask it, how is this even true? How much of it is true? Do I have any evidence to justify this belief? And if you don't, scratch it off, work on it, make sure that it doesn't stop you from doing whatever you want to do. And once you have found that limiting belief and you're going to scratch it off, replace it with an empowering belief. Let's say you think that you're not smart enough to start a business, scratch that off, replace it with empowering belief of, no, I am good enough to start a business because I'm going to equip myself with the skills needed. And I know that whatever I put my mind to, I do excel in it. So having this massive shift in mindset makes a huge difference when you're trying to excel in something, when you're trying to grow a business and trying to be successful at something. And oftentimes you realize this whole mindset thing is an ongoing process. You will be constantly challenging this limiting belief that will pop up now and then. And it will become, it's so important, like when you try something new, and especially when you want to do whatever you want to do, is to actually work on your mindset. A lot of the successful people, wherever they are at, is because they have challenged their limiting beliefs, they will work on their mindset, and a majority of the credit will go to having a very healthy and having that growth mindset. So let me give you a small way to bust the limiting beliefs. And let's say your limiting belief is I'm not good enough. And this is one of the limiting beliefs that can hold you back from pursuing your passion. So take a step back and beside it, write down all the things you've accomplished that you have tried and you have excelled in and that you're good at. Write the strengths down. Write what people might have complimented you before that you have helped them with. And make a list of achievements, no matter how small it is. Write it down and remind yourself regularly of them. And also reframe your failures as learning opportunities. Write that down that every time you think I'm not good enough because I failed at something, right there that no, it's because I tried something new and it was learning opportunities to learn more about the market. And with that knowledge, I can definitely better my services, my products, or my knowledge on this certain thing that I've tried out. So it's not a failure, it was just a learning opportunity. And another thing we might often think about is we deserve to be successful. And sometimes it's because we have imposter syndrome and we think that only a selected few people on this earth deserve to be successful, and that is not true. If you're hardworking, you want to try something new, and you desire to be successful in your field, everyone deserves to be successful, regardless of whatever it is. So to overcome this, that you don't deserve to be successful, think about how you can bring value to this world with your services, your products, and just as a person, whoever you are, there is some form of impact you build, like you bring to this world, and the world needs that. So in whatever realm, in whatever niche you're gonna excel in or do well in, you deserve to be successful, and you shouldn't let that thought come to your mind and stop you from doing what you were truly meant to do. And I think another limiting belief you might have, especially if you're starting out, is I don't have enough experience. Do not let that stop you from growing or, leveling up in whatever you want to do. Think about it as everyone has to start somewhere. Everyone started with point A and point zero, and then they slowly learned and upskilled themselves and they became better at their craft. So instead of thinking I don't have enough experience, focus on what do you already know. What do you have, wherever you're at, what can you offer? What can you do better? And because you're already good at something, we are all already good at something. We might not be at a master level, but we have something to offer, even if we do not have so much experience with it. But that will only be experience will only come with time. But you need to focus on what you're already great at, what you can offer at this point in time. And of course, to gain that experience, you can take up new skills, new workshops, and you'll be leveling up if you're serious about building that business or doing whatever you want. You will level up. So don't worry about that because it just takes time to be experienced in that, to sharpen your craft. And, it takes years and you have to be realistic about that. Everyone starts somewhere. And oftentimes, I also realize people don't dream much. They're afraid of even dreaming. And dreaming is free. And how many times we stop ourselves from dreaming big or dreaming a lot for us because we are like, we might fail at it. We might have disappointment if we dream too much. No, I feel like dreaming fearlessly, dreaming courageously is important to make you feel inspired, to make you feel motivated, to do the work that you were meant to do in this world, to make that impact. So don't stop yourself from dreaming. Dream is free, so dream freely. And remember that most of the limits that is out there is the ones that we put on ourselves. It's important to challenge them on a daily basis and being very self-aware about these limiting beliefs, because only when you eliminate them and replace it with a much more uplifting belief that is encouraging, that gives you that affirmation that you have something to offer, only then you can move forward in building a business and doing whatever you want without worrying about what other people think. I think also one important thing you need to remember when you're growing your business or doing whatever you want without being sidetracked by other people's opinion is remembering, why did you started this business? What is your goals? Remembering that roots of your business is very important to sustain yourself and not to get swayed by other people's opinion. So, for example, you might be a small woman-owned business that has a handmade soap business that is affordable and that is, sustainable and is made from natural ingredients. And you might face negative criticism from people who don't believe in this kind of sustainable, affordable, and handmade soaps. They prefer mainstream products, maybe just an example, and you get this negative criticism from them. Don't let that stop you from making your products better, to continue selling them to your target audience, because people who is maybe criticizing your product might not be a target audience because they don't believe in your values. That's how you continue to sort of not get swayed by other people's opinions, even if it's a criticism. Some criticism are constructive, some are not. So don't get swayed by it. Just believe in your goal, your vision, your why you started this business, and just continue growing. And I think a huge aspect about doing whatever you want and pursuing your passion is to have a very strong supportive community of maybe friends and families who believe on what you do, and they support you even if they don't fully understand what you're doing, but they totally get you, they support you, and they understand you, they make you feel seen. And I feel like that support is very much needed, because most of the time when you're exploring a non-traditional path, it can get lonely, and we don't always find that people understand how we are feeling. So even finding colleagues in similar realms helps to feel more included in a community that's doing similar things and exploring the similar unconventional path. So find your community, find your support system, and in the long run, you feel more supported to do the work that you were meant to do. And these are the people who are also like your cheerleaders, right? They encourage you, they believe in your abilities, they always never fail to highlight your strengths, gives you that constructive criticism, the constructive feedback for you to do better. And you know that you have that safe space with them. So I feel like surrounding yourself with this support system is very important. It makes a huge difference in the long run. One thing that I really love, this is by, I think, Dan Ko. He tweeted this recently, and he says that it's close to impossible to discover new potentials for your life by doing what you're told. Go to school, get a job, retire. So 97% of people are competing for the potentials in that narrow way of living. So success is more certain when you embrace the uncertain. And that is so true, because when you're exploring the uncertain, you're exploring so many different kind of niches and realms. Probability of you landing into something that will work out for you is higher compared to doing one kind of job for the rest of your life without actually exploring the fullest potential of what you have to offer to the world. And I think another thing I would like to remind you guys is that life will continue to have its struggles and challenges. Just because you're going to do whatever you want to do, that doesn't take away from the default design of this life, which is challenges and struggles. And I feel like when you're doing something you love, you're probably going to stick to it more because your values align, you love it, and the struggles might feel a bit more bearable compared to doing something that you do not want to do. And yeah, so when people say that you're going to do business, it's going to be risky, it's going to be difficult, it's not like being in a traditional job is any easier. In fact, it can be harder because your values don't align, you do not enjoy the process, you do not want to be there. So might as well do something, whatever that is, without letting other people's opinions and thoughts overwhelming your decisions on what is best for you. Because end of the day, you know what's best for you, and you should listen to that voice, the inner voice that is nudging you to do the work that you were meant to do in this world. And yeah, so test out whatever you want to do and don't attach too much expectations on the outcome. Be more present on what you're doing, put more energy in the present. And when you give your heart and your fullest attention and being intentional throughout the journey, you realize that the noise of the outside world doesn't really matter because you're just so in tune with what you're doing. You're so aligned with what you're doing. And you're almost in your own bubble. And I think that's a very nice place to stay. So go out there, do what you want. Don't worry about what other people think. 'Cause you're in your own journey, they're at their own journey. So focus on your journey and work on that limiting belief and your mindset. Follow your instincts and just pursue your dreams courageously, fearlessly. And subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have enjoyed the podcast so far. And also, if you're on Spotify, do leave me some reviews. It really help to reach out to more audience like you who are enjoying the podcast. And I shall see you guys in the next one. Bye.